Today we'll review the three forms of a quadratic, and also we'll look at what the a value does in each of these. So it says draw a line connecting each equation to the name of its form. So the first one where we have x minus h squared plus k, that is vertex form. When you see the two parentheses, that gives you the x-intercepts, and that's called factored form. And then when there's no parentheses, that's standard form. So if you notice, all of these have this a value. And I forgot to write it in right here. There should be an a value right here as well. And today we're going to look at what happens when that a value changes. What happens when it's positive and negative. What happens when it's bigger than 1 and less than 1 and equal to 1. So that's the goal. So we're going to go to Schoology and click on the Day 9 Decimals Investigation. And again, you're looking for what does that a value do to the quadratic in each of these forms. You're going to complete it and then fill in the following in the packet. So this is the summary after you do the Desmos. So this says, describe what happens to the quadratic when each of the following occurs. Sketch an example of the transform graph. So when a is negative or less than 0, what happens is it flips upside down. So whenever you have any graph where the a value is negative, and I'll just write 3 examples of when it would be negative. So y equals, what if we had like x plus 2, x minus 3, this is factored form. What if we had y equals x minus 1 squared plus 5, this is vertex form. What if we had y equals x squared plus, I don't know, 12x plus 24. This is standard form. And again, here's where the a value would be, this number in front. So when it's negative, for each of these graphs, if it was a negative a value, it would be an upside down graph, or a frowny face graph is what I like to call it. So upside down or frowny face graph. When the absolute value of a is a number between 0 and 1, is it skinnier or fatter? So for an example, if we had like y equals 0.5x squared, or y equals 0.75x squared. These are numbers that are between 0 and 1. And what happens when you graph it is it becomes wider or fatter than the original graph. So again, between 0 and 1, it's fatter. If it's a negative number, it's upside down. And then when the a value is 1, it's the same width as this parent function y equals x squared. And when it's bigger than 1, so if you had like 3x squared, it's going to become skinnier than the original function. So again, to summarize, if it's negative, it's frowny face, upside down. If a is positive, it's a smiley face graph. If a is a number between 0 and 1, so smaller than 1, but still positive, or it could be negative 2, it's going to be wider than the original. If a is 1, it's the same width as the original. And if the a value is bigger than 1, it's going to become skinnier than the original graph. So check for understanding. There are 2 transform graphs plus the parent function on the grid below. So the middle one's the parent function. Can you write the correct equation next to each graph? So I already did that for you. Here is the parent function y equals x squared. So which one's 4x squared? And that will be the one that's skinnier. So this is y equals 4x squared for the skinnier one. And then 0.5 will be fatter than the original. So there's 0.5x squared. Do it again here. There are 3 transform graphs plus the parent function on the coordinate grid below. Write the equation next to each. Here's the parent function, y equals x squared. So which one is negative x squared? It should be the same width. So that's actually the middle one. If we have y equals negative 0.25x squared, that 0.25 is going to make it wider than the original. So this is y equals negative. So again, between 0 and 1, it's wider. And then we have y equals negative 3x squared. So that's going to be skinnier than the original graph. And then they're all negative because they're upside down. So your goal today, it's a day. So what does the a value tell you about the graph? So you're going to go ahead and finish the rest of this packet for tomorrow, and let me know in class if you have any questions.